The following program may contain coarse language, violence, nudity, mature subject matter, or scenes which may not be suitable for all viewers. Viewer discretion is advised.
This is the X-Zone Broadcast Network, broadcasting worldwide on broadcast affiliates and satellite program providers, including CNN Broadcast Network, Sirius Satellite Network, Star Media, Good News Radio Network, Angel Broadcast Network, Wiki Broadcast Network, and WPBN TV. For more information on the X-Zone Broadcast Network, visit us at www.xzbn.net.
All Hit Radio.
Welcome to the X-Zone, a place where fact is fiction and fiction is reality. Now, here's your host, Rob McConnell.
Welcome back to the X-Zone, everyone. My name is Rob McConnell. We're coming to you from our broadcast center in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. Worldwide toll-free, 800-610-7035. My email address is xzone@xzoneradiotv.com. On all social media sites, X-Zone Radio TV, and our main website, www.xzoneradiotv.com. As we have been doing for the past couple of days, our deepest condolences to all the members of the family, friends, and all those who have been directly or indirectly touched by the horrific acts of terrorism in the Ukraine as a passenger airliner was shot down with a Buk missile, taking another Malaysian airliner out of the skies. Except this time we know exactly where this MH17 is. Today on television we watched the motorcade from the airport taking, what was it, 40 caskets to the forensic center where these passengers were going to be identified. Joining me this hour to talk about MH17 as well as the ongoing and escalating events in Gaza is my good friend Howard Bloom. He's the author of The Lucifer Principle, a scientific expedition into the forces of history. Global Brain, the evolution of mass mind from the Big Bang to the 21st century. The Genius of the Beast, a radical revision of capitalism. The God Problem, how a godless cosmos creates. And how I accidentally started the 60s. The Mohammed Code. It's an ebook that's available on Amazon.com and many other books. He has a fantastic website, Exonation. If you want to spend hours reading and learning, go to www.howardbloom.net. Joining me now from New York City, the Big Apple, is my pal Howard Bloom. And Howard, welcome back to the show.
Rob, it's good to hear you again.
My friend, what is going on in the world? It seems like ever since you and I have been talking, going back 15, 16, 17 years now, there has always been a conflict in this world of ours. Now, I'm the eternal optimist. I really believe that we can live in harmony. But what is happening? You know, look what's happening in the Gaza. You've got so many people dying. You know, we're not talking about, God bless them, yes, members of the military are dying, but the vast majority of the casualties and the fatalities are women and children. We have
what's really going on is a distorted lens of the headlines, Rob. Because,
really?
Yes, because ISIS, you know, the internet or the Islamic State of Iraq and Syria,
yes,
last Thursday and Friday killed 700 people in 2 days. Did you hear about it?
No.
Did you see anything about it in the news? Not at
No.
all. Boko Haram has been attacking village after village in Nigeria and usually killing between 40 and 60 people at a time. Sometimes 2 nights in a row, taking on different villages. Do you hear about it?
No.
No, we don't hear about it at all. So there's a magnifying glass that has been focused on Israel. It's been focused on Israel and its the surrounding territories now for the last 60 years, ever since there's been an Israel. Why? Israel's a small nation. It's easy to beat up on Israel. It's easy to criticize Israel. And somehow the poet who said, "You always hurt the one you love," meaning that you tend to attack those who are close to you rather than attacking people at a distance, had it right. So we are, the Palestinians, Hamas, are playing a propaganda game, and they know something that you and I would never, a principle that you and I would never, ever want to implement, and that is the death of every baby, if you can get it on film, if you can get it in a photograph, is worth 10,000 press releases. The more civilians you put in harm's way, if you can blame those deaths on the Israelis, you can make the hearts of the world cry out against Israel. So, and you and I cry out every time we hear about the death of a baby. We don't want to see a single baby, a single mother, a single elderly person. We don't want to see those people die at all. The people that we would be concerned about are the people who are launching those 2,000 missiles. 2,000 missiles have been fired at Israel in the course of 2 weeks.
Wow.
That's outrageous, and they've all been fired at civilians, every single one of them. But the people who've been winning propaganda wars for many, many years now have been the Islamic extremists, and they've been able to win those wars in part because they have a lot of money behind them. You know, 5 or 6 years ago, the Iranians have been after me to be on TV, on their TV channel for a long time, and because it's owned by the government, and the government wants me dead as a Jew, dead as a Zionist, and dead as an atheist, I was somewhat unwilling to go. And then one day they called about an issue that had me really pissed off, the so-called Israeli lobby in the United States.
All right, what we have to do here, Howard, is we have to take a 2-minute commercial break. These are trying times. You just think that you've seen it all, and then the next day you say, oh my God, yesterday wasn't really that bad compared to today. We'll be back on the other side of this 2-minute commercial break. Howard Bloom, www.howardbloom.net. My name's Rob McConnell. Be back in 2. Modern Esoteric, Beyond Our Senses by Brad Olson, consummates the lifology story about where humanity originates. It is the lost continents, the primitive wisdom, the mythos of creation, and the rethinking of ancient history as we are taught in academia. There is much more to the story than what we have been told. As this is the first book in the Esoteric series, Modern Esoteric starts at the beginning of time and accelerates up to this modern age. Future Esoteric is book 2 in the series and takes a forward-looking position ahead of today with an open and honest examination of the ET issue and various unexplained phenomena. To discover the writings of author Brad Olson, visit www.bradolson.com. That's www.bradolson.com. Named one of the world's greatest psychics, Elizabeth Joyce is now giving readings worldwide via Skype. Elizabeth Joyce is recognized for her clairvoyant ability to help find missing persons, her analysis of dreams, past life regression work, mediumship, and her accurate predictions. Elizabeth has been a frequent guest on the X-Zone radio show with yours truly, Rob McConnell, now for several years. For an appointment with Elizabeth Joyce, call 201-934-8986 or Skype at elizabeth.joyce. And for more information, you can always visit Elizabeth Joyce online at www.new-visions.com.
Do you have a dis-ease that you would like to alleviate through a natural means? Have you been contacted by angels, ghosts, or even extraterrestrials and want to validate these experiences? Or would you simply like to speak with someone who can help you find your life's purpose? I'm Dr. Joseph Mara, and I'm offering my services free of charge for first-time clients contacting me during the month of April. These free consultations include angel card readings, guided meditations, life coaching, and energy healing. If you have always wanted to explore these types of experiences but were skeptical or simply could not afford them, then take advantage of this free special offer. Contact me through my website, aguidinglight, spelled LITE.com, to schedule your consultation today. Until then, I offer you love, light, and laughter.
Howard Bloom is our special guest, www.howardbloom.net. He's also the author of The Mohammed Code. It's available on Amazon.com. And Howard, I'm sorry I had to cut you off there. I know you were going to make a point, so please continue.
Okay, the Iranian television, Press TV, wanted me to be on, and they were after me for 2 years, and I refused because I disagree with the policies of the government that owns that channel, and it's a propaganda channel. And then they called me about the Israel lobby, and there had been a great deal of tuhuvu, a great deal of fuss over a book by Mearsham and Wald on the Israel lobby, and I was pissed off by that book. My parents used to contribute to AIPAC. I'm sympathetic to AIPAC, and I think that, like any group in the United States, Jews, Israeli, and Zionists have a right to at least speak to the American Congress and the American Senate. So I decided to do a little bit of research. I called a bunch of my friends who are super researchers when it comes to things like Islamic terrorism and asked them a simple question. There's one Jewish country in the world. It's called Israel. It's very, very tiny. It's the size of New Jersey. It has a population less than the population of Cairo. In fact, half the population of Cairo. And there are 57 Islamic countries, and every one of those countries has roughly 3 major cities. That means there are over 170 major Islamic cities around the world. I wanted to know how much the Islam lobby spends in the United States in order to influence public opinion and to influence the headlines. And none of my friends could answer that. They'd never thought of that. I mean, every state from Pakistan, Malaysia, Indonesia, Egypt, Syria, they all retain lobbying and PR operations in the United States. How much does that all come to? So I had to do the research on my own. Well, I was only able to come up with a figure for one country, Saudi Arabia. And the figure was staggering. It was $80 billion a year. Now, to give you a sense, a standard of comparison, it was not $80 billion a year, it was $80 billion, period.
Oh.
To give you a sense of comparison, the Israel lobby spends 1 penny for every man, woman, and child in the United States every single year. Now, that doesn't sound like a lot of money, a penny, but there are over 300 million Americans. Add that up, and it comes to quite a bit of money. How much do you suspect the Islamic lobby spends, or just Saudi Arabia alone spends, for every man, woman, and child in America each year?
No idea.
$13.28. So walk into a candy store someday with a penny in your hand, and what can you buy?
Absolutely nothing these days.
Yeah, and $13.28?
Well, you can get yourself a good sugar buzz.
Yes, exactly. So, and Washington and K Street in particular is a candy store. And so, to a certain extent, is the press, because unfortunately, most of our reporters, probably 80% of them, are relatively lazy. And what they do is take the press releases, especially the Washington reporters, who are the cream of the crop. They take the press releases they are handed by government sources and other major sources, period. They do very little original research. Even Watergate, which was considered the epitome of American investigative journalism, was not. Do you know what Deep Throat was? He was a PR operative. And do you know what he was doing? But he was making it clever by doing it in the dark, late at night, in parking garages and stuff like that. He was handing Woodward and Bernstein press releases. So if you can afford $13.28 for every penny that the Israelis spend, and if you spend it on things not just like obvious press moves, but establishing chairs of Middle Eastern studies at Harvard, Yale, Princeton, and all the major American universities, if, in addition to that, you can use your money to let it be known within the State Department that you're not going to bribe anybody, but if somebody gets a job in the State Department and he does things the Saudi way, then when he retires, he will be a wealthy man. Then the Saudis will give him money. It is said that the Saudis showed up, one of the Saudis showed up on Colin Powell's doorstep the day that he retired, jangling a fresh new pair of keys.